Brave Conversations, where we value courage over comfort. This is lesson number 2, the power of privilege. In 2015, Dave Chappelle was at a comedy club in New York City working on his improv skills. So he asked the audience for, quote, headlines to riff on. Someone shouts, "Police brutality!" With some hesitation, Chappelle begins talking about Eric Garner. Side note, Mr. Garner was choked to death by police officers in New York City while being arrested for selling loose cigarettes. In other words, he was selling cigarettes one at a time. Chappelle states the sight of watching Mr. Garner being killed on television frightened him and made him fearful for his children. A white woman in the audience yells, "Life's hard. Sorry about it." The room gasps, and then Chappelle asks, "What did you say?" The woman repeats herself. Chappelle then goes into a full-fledged lesson on race in America. He talks about slave patrols, Rodney King, Emmett Till, Black Wall Street, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and John Crawford III. He reminds the crowd who Mr. Crawford was. Mr. Crawford was a 22-year-old from Ohio who was purchasing an air rifle in Walmart in August 2014. Someone called the police and said that a black man was waving a gun in the store. The officers claimed they shot Mr. Crawford because he refused to drop the toy gun. But footage shows Mr. Crawford being shot almost immediately. Despite the video evidence, a judge ruled it to be a justifiable shooting. Chappelle then tells a story about being pulled over in rural Ohio where he lives. He shares that he was nervous because although it was before the Crawford shooting, it was after Michael Brown in Ferguson. But the policeman recognizes him and lets him go. The twist? The same policeman would go on to murder John Crawford III. Chappelle's takeaway: he says, "I shouldn't have to be Dave Chappelle to survive police encounters." The crowd was somber and silent. After the show, the white woman goes backstage to talk to Mr. Chappelle. She thanks him for educating her and states, quote, "I was ignorant before, but I want you to know that I learned from you tonight, and I won't say things like that anymore." Chappelle responds, "You're okay. That's all we can ask. Know better, do better. And I want to thank you for hearing me and for listening. That's your role. And the next time you hear someone say some ignorant blank like you said, it's your job to correct them and share with them what you learned tonight. Then you're no longer part of the problem. You're part of the solution."